What's up everyone, it's the Tyrant here, welcome back to Exploring Halo, and today we are doing my favorite mission in Halo 2, Gravemind. Now, I find this really weird because for some odd reason, usually my favorite mission in the game also tends to be one of the most challenging missions in the game, and this is certainly no exception. The first thing I wanted to see here is if it was possible to walk through the door and escape the initial room that you are teleported in at the beginning of the mission. Now, this is notoriously known for being a really challenging room in general, and you can die within the first couple of seconds if you're playing on Legendary. And guess what? Yeah, you can walk through the wall. This surprised me because the thing of it is, a lot of times you have to hit certain load zones before you can proceed to a next area, so you have to actually destroy a certain number of enemies or certain enemies in general before you can move on. Here, you can just blatantly flat out move on. You can actually continue with the mission without having to go through all that mess back in the initial room. So that's pretty cool. So if you can find a way to clip through the wall, you can skip that entire battle completely. The next thing I wanted to see is something that I know you guys have wanted to see as much as I have in this exploration series. And this is actually a fun fact. This is what got me to starting this whole exploration series altogether, was just wanting to see if I could reach that key ship, that Dreadnought, that Forerunner ship right in the middle of High Charity. Now, looking at it, it's no surprise here that it's a skybox. You can pretty much tell that right out the gate. It looks like they may have added things in Halo 2 Anniversary, but here it is just a skybox. That's not what surprised me, though. If you go far enough out, instead of just despawning me like it usually does when I try to reach the skybox, it actually changes the skybox. Check this out. It's all stars, and then when you turn around, it's Earth! We were lied to! It was Earth all along! We were never on Delta Halo! I'm just kidding. Of course we were on Delta Halo, but I do think it was kind of odd that they have this extra skybox in the background. I'm not sure why that was there. I don't know if anyone has actually noticed this before. But yeah, so this mission actually has two skyboxes. Now, what I wanted to also see from here is if I could actually reach the bottom of High Charity. So I turned off fall damage. And when I turned off fall damage, I thought I'd be able to reach the floor. And as it turns out, there's an invisible floor well before the actual base of the city. So apparently the bottom portion of the city is a part of the quote-unquote skybox as well. But you can still get pretty far away from where you're actually supposed to go throughout the mission. So I did think that was pretty cool. So heading on towards rescuing the Marines, of course, there's a lift that we have to take down, and then we have to rescue two groups of Marines. But there's a room that there's a section that you actually pass by in the gravity lift beforehand, and I wanted to see if I could explore that first. So actually you can. This is all here. Now, of course, this area is one you return to later when you start proceeding through the mission after you've rescued the Marines. For now, the areas here, what's funny is if you actually come to this area, the enemies from the previous one will chase you down here, which I thought was pretty interesting. I thought that they pretty much just despawned when you left that area, but no, they don't. They stay here. So that's pretty interesting. So from here, I decided to go ahead and proceed down to see if I could rescue the Marines. Now, you guys know how this works. Typically, what happens here is Cortana will tell you to go down to either the lower level or the middle level, and then she'll unlock one of the doors, and then you go through. My question was, is it possible to rescue them before that? So, right out, since I already know where the doors are, just from playing this mission so many times, I wanted to see if I could just enter the locked door early, and if you do this, the second door that actually enters the chamber itself is already unlocked. So you can go in there, but it's 100% completely empty. You have to actually take care of all the enemies in the area first, and then wait for Cortana to give you the signal before everything in this room spawns so that you can rescue the Marines. And of course, you can only do that once you've taken out all the enemies in here. So you can actually, if you're in here fast enough, you can actually get there before everything spawns in, and you can take the brute guard by surprise. So that's certainly a possibility, but for the most part, no, you cannot rescue the Marines early. So the next thing I wanted to see is, as we proceed through the mission, we obviously go through a lot of outdoor sections. I say that in quotes, quote-unquote outdoor section, because we're still technically in an inside city here, but I wanted to see if you could actually skip past most of these areas just by sort of skywalking all the way to the other side. And you can get pretty far out. This is what the level looks like if you're looking at it from a distance, which I think is pretty interesting. If you look further over there on the left, you'll see this massive tower. And that tower right there is where the Mausoleum of the Arbiter is, and where you pretty much finish out the mission. I thought the Mausoleum of the Arbiter was a completely separate entity from that, and apparently it isn't, which raises a lot of questions as to where you are when you're in the mission Cortana inside of High Charity in Halo 3. So I'm not sure which to go with here, but okay, whatever. So I did decide to see if I could get to the tower portion early, and just see if I can actually get to the end of the mission. And as you can see, not a lot of the mission is loaded. There's still a lot of the mission, part of the sky bridges and everything have not loaded yet. So when I go through the tower, there's nothing there, which is no surprise. Some of you may be asking me to also check out In Amber Clad while I'm here, because this is the portion of the mission where In Amber Clad warps in. It's now controlled by the Flood. But since General Kid already covered that, I'm not going to do that. Spoiler alert, the In Amber Clad zooms in, goes around the tower, and then just disappears, just like any other dropship would. So really no surprise there. But the next thing I wanted to see is if it was possible to actually skip the Mausoleum of the Arbiter. So I fought all the way up until the final bridge that you have to cross before you get into that awesome room with that Breaking Benjamin music. And so I went ahead and just sort of skywalked around it, and so you can get to the other side. And when I try to actually go to the final door, tagging that door is usually what ends the mission. And in this particular case, nothing happened. No surprise there, obviously. So then I decided, okay, while we're here, why don't we see what's on top of the Mausoleum? So I went ahead and checked it out. I assumed at this point that it would be hollow, that you would simply just fall back into the actual area. No, the entire area up here is 100% completely solid. It's just like one giant spotlight. That's what it looks like. It's pretty cool. So this is what the top of it looks like. You can also look around this area and just inside the tower in general. It makes me wonder if this is actually where the majority of the mission Cortana takes place in Halo 3 rather than the center of the city like I initially thought. Don't know this for sure, but you can see the Mausoleum of the Arbiter in that mission. So maybe that makes sense. Maybe one day I'll be able to see, explore that portion of Halo 3, but for now, I can see this possibly being an option. So I decided to go back just the regular way through the Mausoleum. There's nothing here yet, no surprise, but the music does start to sort of queue up once you go out the other side. And once that happens, everything sort of spawns back in. Now, if you go to the bridge area where you started, all the enemies there are now gone. Their bodies are there, but there's no one left for you to fight, which I thought was interesting that they didn't just simply despawn them. But okay, so now you can turn back and you can fight the mission out the rest of the way just as intended. Now from here, what I wanted to see was after you finally fight everything out, because you know you have to kill every enemy in this area before you can actually proceed. Usually the way this goes is you have elites and brutes fighting each other, and then hunters join the battle at some point. I think drones do it at some point as well. And then after all that's done, there's a bunch of elites that come through the opposite door, including a counselor elite, which I think was pretty cool. And once you take those guys out, you can actually go to the end of the mission before you take out those final elites, but essentially that door unlocks when those elites come through. So I wanted to see at this point if it was possible to go ahead and see what's on the other side of that door that you reach to end the mission. Now at this point, this is when it usually despawns. This is when it cuts over to High Charity when you continue over with the Chief. And so I wanted to see if you could sort of get to that area. So there is actually something behind this door. That did surprise me for a moment because I thought it would just be sort of a blank area, or maybe it would take me back out to space for all I know. But no, there is another hallway here. There are 3 doors. Behind 2 of them are additional corridors that lead to additional doors, and there's nothing behind those. The 3rd door is completely blank. So there is actually something behind that door. It just doesn't lead anywhere. So it doesn't lead to the portion or the gravity lift that eventually takes you to the Prophet of Mercy, where you start the mission High Charity. But yeah, so this is what I explored in this mission. I loved it. I learned quite a bit by exploring this. I definitely didn't know about that skybox, and I also thought it was cool to see that the Mausoleum of the Arbiter is just this massive solid object, and also know that there actually is some geometry behind that door. It's almost like they intended for High Charity and Gravemind to be one mission. Maybe they did, I don't know. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this and your opinions. What did you think about what you saw today? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and I want to take a moment to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy day to sit down and watch this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll consider subscribing for more great content right here on MythicTyrant.com. Thank you all so much for watching. Have an absolutely wonderful week. I'll catch you all right back here next time, and as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.